Coffee cheers. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day to you. Wherever you are, whenever you are watching this. Hi, I am Catherine Oster, and welcome to this week's edition of Coffee Chat. So what I want to chat with you guys about is like how when you start to change the energy in your life. Hey, good morning, Karen. Good morning. When you start to change the energies of things in your life, it can feel like things are going crazy for a little bit. And I'm just going to give you the most recent example. Good morning, Roz, of what's been coming up for me. So on Sunday evening, I purchased a clearing loop from Shannon O'Hara. And Shannon O'Hara is like, she's another facilitator of access consciousness, and she is absolutely brilliant in all of the areas. Hey, Robert, good morning. And I remember when I purchased the clearing loop, I remember reading something about, like, it was like a disclaimer, like, caution, if you start running this loop, your life might go a little bit crazy, things might go weird and feel like crazy. Just keep running it. It could possibly be the change. It's the change. And I'm like thinking to myself, I have been running clearing loops myself for probably like 6 or 7 years. And yes, there's definitely been some moments, but I'm like, I don't like, okay. I was just kind of like, okay, cool. Like, it's not going to be that crazy. So started running this clearing loop Sunday night. And now the really cool thing about clearing loops is it starts to change the energy of things for everybody that's in the household, basically. And it really starts to invite you. It's going to bring up areas of your life that aren't working for you and make them a little bit louder. Maybe areas of your life where you're not being very present, and make them louder. And being present in your life is like, it's a muscle that you have to build, an energetic muscle. And it's in the moment. You are in the moment. You are not worried about the future, what you're going to be doing next. You're not thinking about the past, worrying about that, what you should have done or shouldn't have done. You are literally present in the moment with what is going on around you in that 10 seconds. And so the first funny thing that happened is Monday we were away for kind of like 5 or 6 hours, and we came back, and there wasn't a storm that day. We came back and one of the horses was out. My little foal was actually out. And I thought, this is interesting. She's never been out before. She's in the same pen, but okay. So I looked, and the top wire of the fence was down, and she had a little cut on her chest, but she was very easy to put back in. She was so good about it. And the nice thing about foals and young animals is they heal so quickly. And where she hurt herself, where she tore her skin a bit, was in an area that was just a lot of muscle. So it's healing pretty quick, actually. And I'm just kind of like, this is interesting, and I didn't even think about the clearing loop thing. And then on Tuesday, we were also away in Lloyd getting groceries and picking up some stuff. And there had been a thunderstorm that blew through while we were gone. And we came home and we're driving up the driveway. And I see a rabbit. There was a rabbit on the driveway. And I'm like, oh, rabbit. And then I looked over to the shed, and the chickens were out too. So all of the chickens and all of the rabbits were out in the yard. And I'm like, oh my. So we stop halfway up the driveway because I didn't want to chase them away. And I helped the kids get the chickens in first. And I helped them with the rabbits for a little bit, but they were definitely not as easy as just the chickens were to get in. So I left the kids to that, unloaded what we had going on, put it all away, and then I had my chores to do. So the kids spent 2 hours trying to get all their rabbits in. At the end of 2 hours, they got 3 of them in. And there was one that just was not cooperating very well at all. So they just left it out. They're like, you know what? He's got to figure it out. Doesn't want to go in. So, okay. So I was talking like, what happened? How did they get out? And in that moment, my son Trace, he realized that he forgot to put the latch on the gate. Like he was busy doing something else. And he's like, Mom, I just closed the gate. I know I forgot to latch it. So there was a moment where he wasn't being very present in that. And then, you kind of have to suffer the consequences, so to speak, of that, where the animals got out and you have to put them back in. So I'm like, okay, well, what are you going to do different next time? He's like, oh, I'm going to remember to latch that gate. And that's kind of how, you start to teach yourself like this presence thing, like things come up and it's like, oh, I wasn't being present. Oh, okay, I'm going to choose this now. I'm going to be more present. I'm going to pay more attention next time. And then the other crazy thing that happened was on Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday morning, Helena was unloading the dishwasher and she was throwing the popcorn tin around, playing with it, throwing it up in the air, playing with the popcorn tin, like the tin bowl of popcorn. And it landed on our glass stovetop and shattered it. And so one thing that I really appreciate about this is she came out. I was out with the horses. She came out and she came up to me and she told me exactly what happened. She didn't wait for me to find out by myself. She didn't try to hide it. She just knew she had to face it and she had to have the courage and tell me, which I really appreciate. And in the moment, I was kind of like, I couldn't believe that had actually happened. I'm like, this is crazy. But when I came in and I saw it, I'm like, okay, this really did happen. She's correct. It's really shattered. It's not going to work anymore. So, I had a talk with her. Like, what did you learn from this? What awareness do you get from this? What exactly were you thinking when you were playing with the popcorn tin and throwing it around in the air? And one of the things I always tell the kids is like, be aware of your surroundings. Sometimes they'll get rambunctious in the house and I'm like, hey, does this look like a playground? Like, is this a place where this should really be going on? Or do you want to take this outside? And because I don't want to tell them to stop and sit still, I get it. They're feeling a lot of energy, but it's knowing your surroundings. And I'm like, Helena, what else do you need to think about when you want to play games? If you want to toss stuff around, that's totally cool. But be aware of your surroundings next time. And yeah. And so I wasn't really angry in the moment. Like I was pretty good. But it was later on when it was time to make supper. And I'm like just annoyed because, I couldn't make supper on my stovetop because it was broken. So I'm thankful that I have a really great neighbor and my sister-in-law. And I texted her, I'm like, hey, can we come over and use your stove? Like my stovetop is broken. And she's like, of course you can. So, and we share a yard, so they're not that far. So I had Helena helping me haul everything over there. And I was like and I told her, I'm like, I am not happy about this right now. This is a real pain in my butt. And, yeah, like this isn't working. Like and it's funny because I just allowed myself to be mad and I let her know it. Not by yelling at her or, freaking out on her, but I just said like, I am really pissed right now. And, later on that night, I do a Stress Busters membership with another facilitator, Mary Case, and I was talking about, what came up and Mary pointed out, she's like, yeah, Catherine, like, or anybody else, whenever you're feeling angry or pissed off or frustrated or just sad or whatever you're feeling, not to make yourself wrong for those things. Like, don't make yourself wrong for being mad. Allow it. Allow yourself to feel those, whatever is coming up for you, because yes, it is. You are going to be a little pissed off. You have to spend more money and time, and it just does this thing that doesn't work, right? Whereas before access, before I judged all of those feelings as bad and wrong. Like, it was wrong to be mad. And I still have to catch myself where I do that. And what's good is when you're happy. And it's wrong to be pissed off. It's wrong to be angry. So don't be that. Force yourself to not be that. Don't allow those emotions. And then what happens is you lock that energy into your body when you don't allow them, when you make them wrong and you don't allow them to come up. You lock them into your body, and then that eventually leads to dis-ease in the body, whether those energies cause dis-ease that you don't allow, whether it's pain, whether it is an explosion, months down the road because you have kept everything so bottled up. Yeah, and I was really grateful for acknowledgement because I kind of, anyway, yeah. So I was just allowing it. I'm like, I'm mad. This does not work. And then it passed. Like, eventually we got there and it passed. Whereas before, I would have been angry for a lot longer when I was resisting it, when I was making it wrong, when I'm like, no, we shouldn't be angry. So that was really cool to notice. When you allow it, it'll also flow through and pass quicker. So I'm like, yes. Is this the change? These clearing loops, and this is where people are like, oh my God, well, I'm choosing this thing that you said is going to create change in my life, and all of this crazy is happening. And it's like, okay, like, are you willing to ride what the energy is changing? Are you willing to gain awareness from what's coming up and continue to move forward? Or are you going to, there was also a time when I would judge what was coming up as wrong. Well, this is wrong. This isn't the change, but is it actually? So anyway, yesterday was a really great day. Nothing crazy happened. I'm still running the clearing loop. And I wonder what changes. I mean, I know stuff is changing. So that change is uncomfortable, and it never shows up like you think it will. And will you allow whatever's coming up for you to be, and not shove it down and make it wrong and lock it in your body? Okay. Good morning, all of you guys that jumped on. Thank you so much for listening. And, if you have any questions, message me. And all these tools that I'm talking about are tools that I've learned in Access Consciousness classes, bars, foundation. If you have any questions, message me. You can check out this stuff at accessconsciousness.com. And it's all about becoming conscious in your life and consciously choosing, that. Okay. Well, have an amazing day wherever you are, whatever you're up to. Thank you so much. Cheers. And bye-bye for now.